Hi, my name is Natalie, and today I wanted to share with you a story that I wrote a few years ago. And while I was flipping on my prayer notebook, I stumbled upon it and I thought that it was worth sharing. And so I'm gonna read it to you. I hope that you'll like it, and I really hope that you won't be too hard on me for the way that I put the words together. So here we go.
Would you dance with me? The story of a wealthy lord who had a beautiful daughter he loved dearly. It came a time when he decided to give her up for marriage to a young man that he had removed from the dumps a few years ago to raise him as his own son. After the wedding, the Lord provided them with a modest piece of land and property further in the country. Before they left, he instructed the young man to love and take good care of his daughter. The young man, who was deeply grateful towards the Lord for taking him in, promised that he would love and take care of his wife for the rest of his life. When the newlyweds arrived on their property, the young man realized the amount of work that this land would require, and he wondered how he could ever transform this modest property into a flourishing one. Quickly, the thought of not being able to live up to his promise tied a knot in his stomach. Nevertheless, he pulled up his sleeves and started to work nights and days at restoring the land and building up a respectable home for his wife, who he truly loved. The young man worked so hard that within only a few years, his property had more than tripled in value. As they were having their second child, the young man now wanted more income, as well as a bigger house to welcome his growing family. By the time that they got to their fifth child, the man was so busy in keeping the fields going that he missed out on most of the family's activities and events. Although he still cherished them greatly, he was always too tired, too busy, or too worried about his business to spend time with his loved ones. For their 10th wedding anniversary, the man had organized a big celebration at his mansion where everyone was invited, including his father-in-law. He put countless monies and efforts in preparing for that event. He wanted everything to be perfect, to show the world how much he truly loved his wife. The day of the reception, the mansion was packed with people from all over the country. There was food, games, and dancing for everyone to enjoy. As the band was playing romantic songs, the wife, who was delighted by the music, went up to her husband and asked him, "Would you dance with me, you lover of my soul?" The man smiled, took his wife by the arm to lead her to the dance floor, but only had time to make her twirl once, as one of his workers came to tell him that there was a problem he needed to take care of. Abruptly, he left her standing alone in the middle of the crowd. When the Lord got to the reception, he witnessed his daughter, who was sitting in the center of the room on a big flowered, decorated love seat, alone, with a sad look on her face. Upset about the scene, the Lord started looking all over for his son-in-law in order to get to the bottom of this. One of the guests finally told him that he last saw him dealing with the vineyard people at the back of the kitchen. So he went, and without greeting him, he asked why wasn't he by his daughter's side, who seemed so sad. The man answered that, to his knowledge, she had no reason to be miserable, since he took care of her from the moment they got married. The Lord asked him how exactly did he take care of her. And the son-in-law responded by showing off all he had accomplished in the last 10 years with the modest property that he was granted. So the Lord asked him, "Did you love her?" The man replied, "Of course I did. Otherwise, I wouldn't have spent so much time and energy in building up this mansion and to provide for all of her needs." Then the Lord responded, "My son, don't you know that regardless of the amount of time and energy you put trying to please an individual, what is most important in loving someone lies in the quality of the relationship and the intimacy you both share."
So this is the end. So this was the story that I wrote a few years ago, and that I actually presented to a group of people that I was working with at the church that I was attending at the time. And so I wrote this story specifically to highlight the fact that very often in the ministry we spend a lot of time and energy in working in churches that we build to help the poor, the needy in our community, and we forget to spend time with Jesus. And this brings us to the story of Martha and Mary when Jesus went there to visit them, and Martha was more worried about welcoming him well than about spending time with him. And I think that to some extent we all suffer from the Martha syndrome when we worry a lot about the number of attendance that we have in church on a specific Sunday. We spend a lot of time thinking about the number of people who accept God in their life without really putting emphasis in growing our relationship with Jesus. I think that one of the reasons why we tend to do that a lot is because we tend to do what is easier for us. We tend to do what we're good at. And sometimes it's easier for us to lead worship, but it's harder for us to work on building relationship, whether it's with Jesus or with people surrounding us. It's just easier to do stuff than to be with people, to work on growing relationships. But I really believe that God calls us to build relationship not only with him but also with people who surrounds us, meaning that it doesn't really make sense that we do so much work building ministries, churches, kids program, etc., without spending time with people that we're working for, without building relationship with these people. And when Jesus came, he actually did that. He built relationship with his disciples, with Mary, with Martha, with their brother, with the community, and it was with the people. It was building relationship. It wasn't just passing by and working for people. I really do believe that we do need to get better at building relationship within the church, within the community, and most of all with Jesus, because this is what he wants. This is what he longs for. He wants to be the center of our lives. So just let him be that. Just let him be the center of our life and our relationship. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening to me, for viewing that video, and see you soon. Bye bye.